This is Jeff Powell from Boiling Springs, North Carolina. I'm 58 years old. My favorite film is the very first Godfather film. I almost have to qualify that. I think it's actually the very first two Godfather films. It's a trilogy. There are three. Third one's good. First two, though, are this wonderful story. It's really the American story, immigrants coming to America, doing well, building a business, but it's done through the lens of organized crime. So it's a different take on things. I think the writing is fantastic. I think the cinematography is fantastic. I think it's got some great one-liners, very memorable moments in that film. Again, great actors giving great performances, and the soundtrack is fantastic as well. First films I remember watching in a theater were probably, like a lot of people, animated features. As a kid, you beg your parents to take you to see something. I remember Lady and the Tramp. I don't know why I remember that one so well, but I do remember going to see that as a kid. And then as I got older, I went to see a lot of science fiction films, that sort of thing. Um, Action, war movies, things like that, I would go and see. I remember going here in Boiling Springs to what is now the Italian Garden. It was originally built post World War II as a movie theater called the Co-Ed. And its best days had come and gone by the time I was born, but I remember going, somebody bought it and tried to revive it. I remember going to see with my father the movie Tora, Tora, Tora about Pearl Harbor. And that probably was the last time I went to the movie theater with my father. It's pretty interesting. Yeah, with the changing technology, that definitely has affected the way I go see movies. I don't go see movies anymore. And that's even before the pandemic. And of course, during the pandemic, nobody goes to see movies. But um, I'm not really taken by the distractions of the audience mostly. Not to mention the price of a movie ticket and the snacks. It's insane. I won't do it. So I don't go to the theater to see movies. And that becomes less and less of a problem every year because, now, particularly with the pandemic, a lot of things are released same day or very shortly after they're at the theater, they're coming out, or even not coming out of the theater and being released straight to streaming services. So I have subscriptions to a lot of the streaming services, and that's how I watch my content, whether it's a movie or a TV series. I never really went to drive-in theaters when I was younger. I think I've maybe been once, and that would have been in the 80s. I took It was a date with the woman who's now my wife, and I couldn't stand it. Again, it's the other people there that bother me, right? It's people blowing their horns, flashing their lights, people walking around, talking. It's very distracting. When I really like a movie, I'm trying to watch that movie. I don't like a lot of distractions. Thank goodness when I'm streaming things at home, yeah, there are distractions, but I can push pause or I can rewind and catch what I missed and that sort of thing. Yes, I've gone to video stores to rent movies. I remember the very first one here in the area. It was in Shelby off of Highway 74. And this was when you could get either VHS or beta, very early videotape formats. And when you went, before you could rent anything, or you had to buy a membership, it's like a club. And it wasn't cheap either. And then after that, you could rent the movies, and you had however many days you had until you had to take it back. And then they started literally these little stores, mom and pop, started opening up all over the place. At one point in time, I think there were three in Boiling Springs, little video rental stores. And of course, Blockbuster drove them all out of business, and now Blockbuster's out of business too. I think there are like a handful of Blockbusters left in the world, but not many. I watch most of my movies today at home, usually streaming. I have a small collection of DVDs, but I don't even like to watch the DVD versions because, you go to the shelf and you pull out the case and you open it up and it's not in there, or it's been filed in the wrong box. And it's just I would rather push play on my remote. Don't even have to get off the couch, right? And I can watch all these movies, whether it's through Netflix or Amazon Prime or Hulu or whichever one I'm using. My taste in films has changed a lot over the years. Of course, as a kid, I wanted to go see all the latest Disney animated kind of films. Um, and then as I got a little older, particularly in the 70s, it was about action films. The one constant has been science fiction. I really enjoy science fiction, fantasy kind of films. And I still watch those a lot. I think the most interesting thing for me, though, is I think we live in a golden age of television shows. And I watch more television shows now than I watch movies. But generally speaking, if you've got a TV series that runs three, four, five um, seasons, and it's really thought out, it can be like this complete package.